سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهدى يا صاحي كي تستريح وبث الدعاء الخفي الصريح.
نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Many Muslims choose to live by the Sharia, even within a Western setting. And that might send a shiver down somebody's back, thinking, how can somebody live by the Sharia within a Western setting? But what we're referring to here when it comes to the Sharia is personal law. And even though I use the word personal law, it actually is a moral code, because a law itself can only be considered as a law when it can be supported by the social institutes and the legal institutes in order to enforce it. And there is no enforcing of the Sharia. It is a choice, it's a personal choice. And this is a choice that Muslims, men and women, choose to live by. They are not put under any pressure by anybody, whether by the community or by the society or by the husband or by anybody else for that matter, in order to pursue things through the Sharia. It's at the choosing of each individual. And some may argue and some may see that there's a disparity maybe between the genders in certain situations, and as a result it's seen as problematic. However, I will try in the next 5-10 minutes or so to explain why one sees this in this manner. Islam itself is a holistic ideology. It's a holistic philosophy. Its aim, first and foremost, is to ensure that Muslims live according to a particular methodology and a particular process in order to be able to achieve success in the hereafter. So the hereafter, life after death, is absolutely paramount, and it is what is the basis for how a person lives their life in this world. So one might find that personal choice when it comes to certain things is questionable, and one might find that the impact of this life in the hereafter has a profound effect on the life of this world. And that's where rules come from, and that's where choosing to live a certain way or choosing to live a certain lifestyle comes from. And it's this belief. And all Muslim men and Muslim women, once they make the claim or take the shahada or state this belief in Allah and belief in the prophets, then this is part and parcel with that. And Islam is not alone, because most religions, if in fact all the traditional religions, believe in a life after death. And it's this belief in this life after death which dictates how a person should live their life in the world. So for instance, in Judaism, the Jews believe in a life after death, and because of that they have certain practices which they need to adhere to in this world. Christians, Sikhs, Hindus, etc., they have a view, a belief as to what's going to happen after they die, and because of that then they have certain practices. Why do they need to believe in this thing after life, after death rather? Is because their identity as being British, or as anything else for that matter, their national identity, their ethnic identity, their social identity, doesn't actually give them answers to questions like, what happens to me after I die? Where have I come from? What am I? What's my soul? What makes me me? These sorts of questions which one can't use any one of those identities to be able to answer. And therefore the belief system comes in when they see this religion of Islam and they become more aware of it. Then they say, well, that's the belief that I have as well. I agree with this belief system. I agree that this is what's going to happen. I believe in that what's going to happen. Once that belief is made, then obviously that has repercussions in terms of this life. And in terms of this life, Islam, what it does is it delegates responsibilities. It doesn't build about individuals as such. It's not an individualistic view. It's a teamwork approach. We have a unit, which is the family, and then we have the society, which the unit fits into. Why? Because we can't achieve anything on our own. There is no I in team. It can only be achieved when we all work together. So the family can only be successful when everybody within the family are pulling together. Similarly, when we look at the community can only work when everybody's working together. And what we find is that any organization or any social setting, that we have to designate a leader. Without a leader, if everybody's opinion is equal, then we don't really get anywhere. Somebody has to be able to make the final decision. Even though we can all be involved in the consultation process, somebody makes the final decision. We see that everywhere in life. For example, we have a prime minister, we have members of the parliament, we also have councillors, and we have, if you look across, that's within the political sphere. But if you look in the working environment, we might have a CEO, managing director, we then have directors, we then have managers, supervisors, and whatever, to reach all the way down to the shop floor. Now, so we've got to have people on the shop floor, and we've got to have people at different positions. Now, because obviously Islam is about generalization, it's not about having some kind of assessment to determine who should lead that family, and it is about generalization. Islam generalizes and places the man at the head of the family, and it's a generalization. There's, without any shadow of doubt, many women within this family setup that would make far better leaders than the men would do, and that normally does happen, is that the woman becomes a leader of that family. And it's not as if the man becomes a leader, so that happens, and it can happen. However, when it comes to being a leader of the family, normally in Islamic sort of principles, the man is given that role. Now, it's not as if he's given all the trimmings and everything which goes with it. He has a great burden and responsibility. Because by becoming a leader, not only is he responsible for his own actions, he's now become responsible for his wife's actions, and he's also responsible for his children's actions. And that's the key thing to understand, because with rights comes responsibilities. So even though the man in this case who's been put in charge as a leader has certain rights, he's also got lots more responsibilities. For instance, when it comes to classical interpretation of Islam, the man is given 2 shares compared to the woman is given a share. So if a man passes away and he's left a son and a daughter and nobody else, then his son will get 2 shares and his daughter will get 1 share. And we might object to that. We might say, well, hold on a second here, how is that fair? The only reason why she's not getting a share is because of her gender, and this is obviously gender inequality. The issue here is not necessarily about trying to say that, the woman isn't going to get her fair share and the man should get twice because he happens to be a bloke, and that's it. The key issue here is that the man himself will obviously be, by now, if his father's passing away and his father's in his 50s or 60s, he's also, the young man, the boy, the son is also a married man. And if he's not a married man, Islam promotes marriage. So therefore he will eventually get married. And what he will have on his shoulders is the responsibility to care for his wife and his children, because it is the liability of spending on his wife is on him. Even if his wife earns a living, she can spend that money as she chooses. It is his responsibility to provide for her, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, whether it's a house. So as a result, because he's got these extra responsibilities, he's also given extra rights. We see that again when we have a CEO or a prime minister or anything else for that matter. They have lots more rights than us. They can do things which we can't do, but they have lots more responsibilities as well. So with those rights come responsibilities. Whereas when the daughter gets her share, she doesn't necessarily now, and let's say she's married as well, she doesn't have to share a penny of that with her husband at all. And she is not liable to spend upon her husband nor upon her children. If she chooses to do so, then she will get rewarded for that. So Islam has set up rights and responsibilities, and because it's set up responsibilities, it also allows that person, because it would be unfair, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be considered as an oppressor if he was to give certain individuals more responsibilities but not give them more rights and give them equal rights. He gives according to the responsibilities that's given. We have, for example, pay scales, for instance. There's certain individuals who might be, say, a head teacher, or there might be a senior manager, and that senior manager is also doing 35 hours or 37 hours, and the person on the who's a new teacher is also doing 37 hours, might in fact be doing more than 37 hours, yet this individual's pay is twice as much as this individual's. And the situation which comes is, well, okay, that's not fair. How is that fair? Well, of course it's fair. Why is it fair? Because this individual has got more responsibilities than this individual. So therefore, because this individual's got more responsibilities, then he's obviously paid for taking on those responsibilities. So the issue comes up is, yes, but every individual's got an opportunity to get into that position. Whether the individual's a male or female, they can get into that management position. They're not being stopped because of the fact that they happen to be a woman. And Islam is not allowing that. What Islam is doing is saying, well, okay, you can get that position, but you can't because you happen to be a woman. The reason that that exists as it does is because this individual has got more responsibilities upon him. And he will be questioned upon those responsibilities on the day of judgment. That did you cater for your wife? Did you cater for your children? And the woman wouldn't be. She wouldn't be responsible for those decisions, responsible for those situations. So therefore, it's because of this split, and it's a generalization. It's not saying that men in this case, every single man is far better at making decisions than every single woman. Far from it. That's not the statement that's being made here. It's saying that out of the two, as a generalization, easy way to identify is if the man is made responsible, especially since he's the stronger of the two species, he's the one that, or stronger of the two gender rather, he's the stronger of the two genders, so he can go out there and work, he can go out there and earn a living. Similarly, he can't have children. So that obviously promotes the wife, or the woman rather, having the children. Again, because she's having the children are having to stay at home because the children can't necessarily go out to work with her. So because they are having to stay at home and she's having to nurse them and provide food for them and look after them, then she's also at home. So because she's at home, she can't take on all those legal responsibilities, which he can. Because he's free now to be able to go out and work and earn a living and continue to earn a living, whilst his wife obviously can't do that because of the fact that she's either on maternity or she's obviously had children, or she's taken some time out to be a homemaker. So in those sorts of circumstances, because of that biological reason and the physicality of the two, the strength which is being given to the man, the fact that he can't have children, the fact that biologically a woman can have children, it is because of this setup that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then puts the responsibility on this man. And because of all these extra responsibilities he has on, he also gets given these extra rights.
بث الدعاء الخفي الصريح يسعك الفضاء الرحيم